While you watch them, you will also see a live video feed on the side, like a sidebar. So if it kind of messes with your video or you don't want to see it, you can hover over the live feed video left corner. There's a hover bar and it will say hide the thumbnail video. Just click on it and it will minimize the live feed so you see the whole screen of a video. Okay? All right. Me alustame täna oma programmi Eesti hümniga ja seda laulavad Lääneranniku Eesti koori lauljad. Seda juhendab ja on kokku pannud ja monteerinud Heather McLaughlin-Garbs. Marko, your turn. Suured tänu kõigile lauljatele ja Heather, you too. Big thanks to all the singers and Heather for all the hard work. I would like to take this moment to give you a quick rundown how much work it really is to put together a choir online. So as Heather sent out the music tracks and guide tracks to all the choirs and singers on the West Coast and some even further out, each singer recording themselves from home while listening to the guide track on their headphones, but recording only their voice. So then they upload it to a Google Drive and then the editing magic started to happen. Heather took all the files and flipped the audio and the video portions, then aligned, mixed and balanced the audio and the video and put it together. So each song took about 10 to 12 hours to complete. So we really want to say big thank you to all involved, especially Heather, for all the hard work. Now that all the technical stuff is out of the way, let's move on. Ma tahaksin veel kord öelda tere tulemast kõigile. Meil on hea meel näha teid kõiki ja tervitada 103. Eesti Iseseisvuspäeva virtuaalsel tähistamisel. See on pehmelt öeldes olnud omapärane aasta. Kas usute, et täpselt aasta tagasi kogunesime Seate Läti saali samale pidustusele? Ja see oli viimane kord, kui paljudel meistel võimalus näha nii kokku saada oma sõprade ja perega. See on olnud aasta, mis on proovile pannud meie väärtused, otsusekindluse, meie tahtejõu ja nõrkused ning rohkem kui kunagi varem meie inimlikud sidemed ja suhted. See pole olnud lihtne aasta, kuid me oleme siin ja me jääme siia ka edaspidi, hoolimata sellest, mis elu meile toob. Ka pole esimene kord meie ajaloos, kus oleme pidanud raskustega silmitsi seisma ja see ei jää ka viimaseks. Aga meil eestlastel on paar lisanippi siiski varukas, kuidas elu keerdkäikudega toime tulla. Meid on tihti kutsutud põikpäisteks ja visadeks. On teada, et läbi ajaloo on palju püüdnud meie Eesti vaimu edutult murda. Kuna väikse rahvana, mida ümbritsevad suured riigid, oleme õppinud rasketel aegadel olema kavalad ja nupukad. Meie esiisad on õpetanud meid tormidest pragmaatilise optimismiga üle elama. Ma tean, et mõned teist ütleksid, et see on oksümoroon või paradoks, aga kummaliselt see töötab meie jaoks. Tänu eestlaslikule kangekaelsusele oleme me oma traditsioone ja kombeid kaitsnud ning hoidnud neid sajandeid ja mitmeid põlvkondi. Teisest küljest on meie osavus ja nutikus meid edasi viinud ja teinud meist ühe kõige innoveeriva riigi maailmas. Need oskused ja omadused on meid edasi toonud siia tänasesse päeva, kus me oleme läbinud pikad rusumised, sõjad, rahvusliku identiteedi leidmised, iseseisvuse ajaloo. Mitte ainult meie riigi raskelt võidetud iseseisvuse, vaid ka vabadus olla eestlane. See on üks neid hetki, kus me saame meenutada kõiki neid inimesi, kes on end ohverdanud meie vabaduse eest, kes on võidelnud meie iseseisvuse eest, kes on hoidnud meie Eesti vaimu alles ja need, kes on kindlustanud, et side meie juurtega püsib tugev. Täna on head päev minevikule mõtlemiseks, oleviku tähistamiseks ja olla tuleviku osas lootusrikas. We're happy to see you and welcome you to our virtual celebration of 103rd anniversary of Estonian Declaration of Independence. It's been a unique year, to say the least. If you can believe, exactly a year ago, our community gathered together at the Seattle Latvian Hall for the same celebration. Unfortunately, that was the last time many of us had the chance to see our friends and family in person. This is a year that has tested our values, our resolve, our strengths and weaknesses, and our human connections. It has not been easy, but we are here and will continue to be here despite what life will throw us. It's not the first time in our history where we had to face the hardships, and it won't be last. But we, Estonians, do have few extra tricks up our sleeves. Often we are called stubborn, or some called persistent. Throughout the history, many have tried to break our spirit. Unsuccessfully, if I may add. As a small nation surrounded by giants, we have learned to be crafty when things get hard. Our ancestors have taught us to weather storms with pragmatic optimism, while some would say that's oxymoron. Weirdly, it works for us. So, on one hand, thanks to our Estonian stubbornness, we have protected and cherished our traditions for many centuries and generations. On the other hand, our craftiness have moved us forward and made us one of the most innovative countries in the world. These skills and traits have brought us here today. Through a long history of oppression, wars, finding national identity and independence, the independence that we are celebrating today. Not just the hard-won independence of our country, but also the freedom to be Estonian. So, with all of you, I would like to take the moment to remember and reflect on all the people who sacrificed for our freedom, fought for our independence, and kept our spirit high, and ensured that our connection to our roots remains strong. We'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. I would now like to introduce you to someone who we will hear throughout our program, Kaja Weeks. She's an aunt of Seattle Estonian Society member Heli Ojamaa, and she will perform readings of 2 of her poems from Mouth Quill, Poems with Ancestral Roots, a collection of 21 of her poems recently published by a Poetry Box, a publishing company in Portland, Oregon. Kaja herself resides in Silver Springs, Maryland, and along with being a clinically based musical educator, is a poet, essayist, and classically trained singer. And she's also part of the choir that you will hear today. These poems narrate the intimate journey of universal themes of ancestors, displacement, migration, longing, and connection. All appropriate themes to reflect on during Vabariigi aastapäev. Thank you, Kaja, for sharing your work with us. The first poem we will hear now is titled Old Tunes on Spruce.
Old tunes on spruce. My foremothers cradled harps of northern spruce in their laps. Their strings form my birth ribs, from which plucked tones rise, cluster and peal. Drawing air to breathe, I taste evergreen. I am a spring twig, just 6. My melody slips its bent tone beneath the peak of a modal scale, hinting at heartbreak. But by 12, cattle train wheels on Siberian metal haunt me. Their din vanquishes lyric sound, splitting my chest's veneer. Yet, unbidden, vocal cords quiver, resonate, steal space in my bony frame. Ah, I see. It's not my space, but ancestral, where bird warbles became runic songs. Ku-ku-ku, bililil, vak-vak-va. Spirit sees me, wounded gunnelwood sweats amber, pulls me, holds me in primeval sap.
Thank you, Kaja. Järgmiseks toob meile tervitused meie aukonsul Paul Raidna. We would now like to give a stage to our honorary consul, Paul Raidna.
Hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sorry, we have Kevin's fancy gaming PC, and now I'm on my iPhone. So I'm talking through my iPhone, and hopefully you see me here. Sorry about that. Oh, it's gonna echo. Okay, I'll try to be brief so it's understandable. The host would like to unmute you. Stay muted here. Okay. Turn this off.
Turn off your sound. Turn off your sound.
Turn off my sound. Turn this off.
On the computer. On the computer.
There,
and then leave your phone sound. Yep. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. I thought I had my tech expert here, but my real tech expert is Marco, who is coming over later tonight. Anyway, welcome everyone to our Independence Day celebration. Again, my apologies for the difficulty. I'm very happy to be here with all of you as next month I'll celebrate my 14th year as your honorary consul. I wanted to, in a little bit of housekeeping, remind everyone that we do have a consulate general now in San Francisco. In the past, we've relied on the New York consulate general for all of our assistance with fingerprinting and with passport applications. And in some cases, people have had to travel to to New York for those services. Now we have them closer in San Francisco, which also means that when the pandemic ends, we should have more frequent visitors from San Francisco as it's closer, and that'll help all of you with your renewals and other consular items you need help with. Anyway, I want to welcome all of you today, and particularly our dear friends from the Latvian and Lithuanian communities. We have, in all of my lifetime here in Seattle, I cannot recall a time that we haven't shared an incredible friendship with our Latvian and Lithuanian friends, and we've shared many, many memories, both happy and sad, in the Latvian hall over the years, from weddings to funerals to all of the get-togethers. Today we're celebrating in unity with our countrymen and women across the United States, Canada, and of course in Estonia. These celebrations are occurring not only today in expatriate communities, but they'll be occurring over the next several days in Estonia as well. There are a number of links you can find on the Consulate General webpage if you're interested in participating or viewing some of the events hosted in Estonia. Our celebrations are really to honor our shared history and the efforts of all of you and those that came before us that brought this Independence Day to fruition. Something that we can all be proud of today is that our Estonia is much, much different than it was even a couple decades ago when we renewed our independence. Today, Estonia is vibrant and free. We are a world-leading digital society. We're contributing members of both the EU and NATO. And of course, we enjoy some of the highest rankings in all of the world in terms of international student scores and in terms of the Economic Freedom Index as measured over the Estonian economy. Today is the day that we remember many of our heroes, and those are not only the Vabadussõja Independence War veterans, but those that sacrificed over all of the conflicts that Estonia has sent its fighting men to participate in. It used to be years ago, we had our veterans gather in front of us, and sadly that's not possible anymore as independence veterans are no longer with us, but we can still share in celebrating our fathers, our grandfathers, mothers, grandmothers, and everyone that just as importantly helped to ensure the re-independence of Estonia through all of their efforts. We're losing our heroes just about every day, it seems, as the older generation passes. And I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I did want to just remember a couple of people, because we have, of course, not been able to gather in funerals this year during the pandemic. But it was a particularly hard year for our community as we lost some really close friends and family members to some of you. We lost Rain Maggie earlier this year, and more recently, Matt Liikane, who was a very, very close friend of mine ever since I was a young boy. I will miss them greatly. And of course, our friends in the Portland community recently lost Lehti Merilo, a real icon, not only in Portland, but on the entire West Coast for all the Estonian communities to share in that sorrow of losing her. I won't take any more of your time. I'm honored to be here and be part of this. I want to wish all of you a wonderful Independence Day celebration, a wonderful Independence Day period as there are other celebrations to come. I want to thank Carolee and the Eesti Seltsi juhatus for putting this on. I've not been able to attend the last couple of years. We've actually taken advantage of the children having their midwinter break, and so I missed the last two celebrations. We were able to celebrate in our own way. We were on a cruise ship, and I remember we brought out a little table flag, an Estonian flag, and so many of the wait staff, being international, asked us what that was all about. We told them we were, of course, celebrating Independence Day while we were on the high seas on a cruise. it's a special day for all of us, and particularly when you have young children, as many of you do and as we do. Our kids view Estonia too often as some place that's a long plane ride away, and that's the impediment to them getting there and to seeing their grandmother and seeing their cousins. But we have to remind our children every day that it wasn't long ago when we were kids and Estonia was not a plane ride away. It was an impediment because it was behind the Iron Curtain. Our relatives, our friends were not accessible as they are now. And so let's remember what our history is. Let's teach it to our children. And above all, though, today let's celebrate. And so with that, I wish you all again a very, very happy Independence Day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
Aitäh, Paul.
Aitäh.
Ja järgmiseks on saatnud oma tervitused meie kõigi lemmik Washingtoni ülikooli Balti osakonna juht Guntis Smidchens. Now we will hear greetings from our favorite UW Baltic Studies chair, Guntis Smidchens.
Greetings from the University of Washington. Here at the UW, winter quarter is well underway. Students and professors are plugging away, each one of them in their own little Zoom box, connecting with everybody else in ways that we never imagined were possible. Something like this wonderful meeting with our Estonian community tonight. Sometimes, though, I find myself daydreaming, thinking back to some wonderful moments a year and a half ago. That cool summer rain at the Estonian Song Festival choir rehearsal, washing away all our worries and cares. Now, that was fun. And how about how wonderful it was to watch thousands and thousands of singers walking through Tallinn, walking towards that magical musical instrument that we see only once every 5 years. And how wonderful it was to know that my own hometown was also part of it. Hey, that's the Seattle Estonian Society Choir right there. And then comes the Tacoma Symphony Voices, and of course our own Huskies, the University of Washington Chamber Singers and the University of Washington Chorale. I was curious, what is it that they find there? What is it that they're bringing back to Seattle, the students and professors in the UW choirs?
Our choir had to leave right after that, and it was such a almost a heartbreaking pulling apart, and then to be sent out with 100,000 people singing "You Are Not Alone." And isn't this a story that we need to hear right now? Is that we're all sitting in our little rectangles on a Zoom meeting. We're all alone, but we need to hear that you are not alone. And see, this is what I mean, is that this music, it speaks to all of our experiences.
And that's our mission at the University of Washington, building bridges of language for our students to walk across and come back home carrying songs, stories, knowledge of Estonia and the Estonians, and also memories of meeting with those people, those good people of Estonia. Thank you to the Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian communities for supporting the University of Washington Baltic Studies program and for helping build these bridges to Tallinn, to Riga, and to Vilnius. And so it's on behalf of the Baltic Studies program at the University of Washington Scandinavian Department. It is wonderful to be with you today on this celebration, and I wish you a very happy celebration of Estonia's Independence Day.
Aitäh, Guntis. Thank you so much. Järgmiseks meie Lääneranniku koor esitab Mu Isamaa on minu arm. Next, the West Coast Choir will be singing Mu Isamaa on minu arm.
Mu Isamaa on minu arm.
Mu Isamaa on minu arm, kes südant andnud ma. Sul langan ma mu ülemõrn, mu õitsen Eestimaa. Sul langan ma mu ülemõrn, mu õitsen Eestimaa. Sul südames mul keel, sul õnn ja rõõm mind rõõmsaks teeb. Sul õnn ja rõõm mind rõõmsaks teeb. Mu Isamaa, mu Isamaa. Mu Isamaa on minu arm, ei teda jäta ma. Ja peaksin saada surma, seepärast surema. Ja peaksin saada surma, seepärast surema. Kas ainult võõraga tegust, sa siiski elad südames. Sa siiski elad südames, mu Isamaa, mu Isamaa. Mu Isamaa on minu arm ja tahan puhata. Suurt heina unele, mu püha Eestimaa. Suurt heina unele, mu püha Eestimaa. Solvinud mul laval, mu kõrvust lilled õitsetad. Mu kõrvust lilled õitsetad. Mu Isamaa, mu Isamaa.
Aitäh to our choir. Now, as we've mentioned about our roots and traditions, one of the most recognizable traditions we have, or as most Estonians would call it every weekend, it's our sauna culture. Here today we have Estonian sauna, talk a little about the history of saunas and where are we now. His name is Adam Reng, and he's CEO of Estonian Saunas and the former chief evangelist for Estonian government's e-residency program.
Head Vabariigi aastapäeva. Happy 103rd Independence Day to all of you in Seattle and wherever you're watching this. So my name's Adam. I'm here in Estonia. Probably first thing you might notice is that I don't sound very Estonian. So like many of you, my family fled Estonia in 1944. I've got a family that fled from both Estonia and Latvia. And just as many of your families were taken to the US and found a new home there, my family were taken to the UK. And but exile communities in the UK, just like in the US, they kept the knowledge of Estonia alive. They passed it down through the generations. And despite the odds of history, here we are celebrating another Independence Day. And I'm happy to be here living in free and beautiful Estonia once more with my family. And I have a son here now, as you can see from all his toys behind me. And he's just learned to say his first words in Estonian before English. Part of what helped me reconnect with Estonia is this. This is my digital ID cards. I'm sure many of you have one. If you don't, I recommend you get one. When I first got mine, I didn't have a clue what to do with it. I didn't really know what it was, but I soon realized that, I could use it to start an Estonian company, which is an EU company. I could run it online from the UK or anywhere in the world. And it brought me a lot of benefits, and it helped me kind of, once I created an Estonian company, I spent more time in Estonia doing business with other Estonians. And one thing led to another, and I ended up living in Estonia working for the e-residency program. And e-residency is based on the same idea of, if we can give these digital ID cards to our citizens and residents, then why not give them to other people around the world and let them start Estonian companies? And that's been really great for both the people who receive the cards and, if they can start a company using our business environment. It's also been really great for Estonia because, first of all, it brings in revenue for the state, more than 50 million euros so far in the last 6 years of the program. But also it brings in a lot more revenues for Estonian companies just by e-resident companies doing business with Estonian companies. And the other thing is that it's just been really good for Estonia's kind of soft power. As we all know too well, the more people that can find Estonia on the map, the less likely we are to be wiped off those maps again. And it's really great to hear, like, when Estonians go, wherever they are in the world, and they say, I'm from Estonia these days. Back when my dad was younger, he used to tell people he's Estonian, and no one had a clue what Estonia was. But now you say it, and, people respond like, Estonia, that's the country of e-residency, or Skype, or TransferWise, that's a digital nation. And it's really fantastic. But you know what? There's a lot more things about Estonia to tell the world about, which are absolutely fantastic here. And one thing I've been really focused on recently, since leaving the e-residency program, is saunas. So me and my partner, we love saunas. We love visiting them. And a few years ago, I just started an Instagram account at Estonian Saunas, where we kind of just shared pictures of cool Estonian saunas. And one thing led to another. We created kind of a YouTube channel and a Facebook page and Twitter. It's all at Estonian Saunas. And we use those to just help document Estonian sauna culture and show off our cool kind of design and technology and traditions that we have here. Because a lot of people around the world, they still think of saunas as like just a Finnish thing. And actually, Estonia is also a Finnic nation. We have a sauna heritage that stretches back just as far as Finland. And it's really cool to tell more people around the world about Estonian sauna culture. And right now, there's a huge surge in interest in saunas. Particularly home saunas. More people than ever before are building saunas at home, even though they didn't come from a culture of having home saunas like we do here, including across America. And that's a big opportunity for us here in Estonia. We initially started investing in tourism. We thought, let's tell more people about Estonian saunas by creating really cool sauna experiences for them when they arrive to Estonia. Because actually a lot of visitors, they arrive here, most stay in Tallinn, and they don't really, if they ask where can they go visit a cool Estonian sauna, they get sent to the nearest spa. And, we have good spas here, but, you can find good spas everywhere in the world. We want to show people more about like authentic saunas and Estonian sauna traditions. So we created some cool sauna experiences here. We created a smoke sauna here in Tallinn, a smoke sauna experience here at our home. We also offer accommodation. We put a Wi-Fi connected sauna stove into an apartment, and we rented that out to visitors. And yes, even saunas are online here in Estonia now. And we also have a Soviet army truck, which has been converted into a sauna. And we use that to create kind of like cool pop-up sauna experiences. And, it's especially nice to take this like relic of totalitarianism, this thing that was left over from the occupation, and transform it into a celebration of freedom and Estonian culture. So we use all our saunas to showcase Estonian design, technology, and traditions. And this has brought us a lot of great media opportunities to tell the world more about Estonia through its saunas. For example, we were in a Netflix documentary last year, a US documentary, and you can still find that actually. It's called Connected on Netflix, and Estonia is in episode 5, and we invited them to our sauna as a cool opportunity to kind of contrast kind of sauna culture with like Estonia as a digital high-tech society. So do watch that if you can. But you know what? Tourism turned out not to be a good investment over the past year. So obviously, you know, we're all facing the challenges of the pandemic, and we realized that we had to adapt our business pretty fast. So when the pandemic began, we thought, okay, we're going to focus on exports instead. Because if people can't come visit our saunas here in Estonia, let's help them build their saunas wherever they are in the world using Estonian design and technology. And let's continue to tell them about Estonian sauna culture because, you know, so they can enjoy their saunas properly. I'm still amazed at like how many people around the world are interested in building a sauna, but don't know kind of some of the basics. Like they don't even know that you can pour water on the stones. And, you know, it's easy to laugh at that, but actually it's an opportunity to educate people, which is fantastic. So a lot of our exports have been going mostly to the UK, but also now to the US. So we partnered with a sauna builder in Duluth, Minnesota. They're called Cedar and Stone Nordic Sauna, and they've been distributing Estonian sauna design and technology across America, including these Hümn stoves, which are becoming really popular. And, you know, they found really cool ways to show off those stoves as well, literally. So there's an ice sauna, which they've just opened to the public.
And check out this advert they're running in Estonian.
Talved on siin külmad, isegi karmid. Kuid talve väärtustamata jääme ilma ka selle võludest. See on ilu, mida on võimalik näha vaid sellel aastaajal. Tule soojus, leeli vabastav vägi, karguses pesitsev vaikelu.
So they invite the public to come and, you know, try out these saunas, try out the stove design that were made in Estonia. And that's been getting a lot of attention as well. So we've also been investing in the Estonian sauna industry. So we've invested in Hümn, Estonia's top sauna stove maker. We've invested in Saun, which is another like really cool up and coming Estonian sauna stove maker. So there's lots of really interesting things going on here. And even during the pandemic, the Estonian sauna industry is one industry that's really been growing really well. And, you know, most of that growth is coming from exports. And one of my big projects for this year is to research and write a book about Estonian sauna culture, which I've already started doing, because there's so much about the origins of the tradition here, which I really want to help explain to more people. Because, you know, saunas become more popular, but people still think of them as just like, you know, something you do for luxury or relaxation. And there's so much fascinating history behind the sauna that it would be cool to put that into a better context for them to understand the origins of the sauna among Finno-Ugric peoples and how it developed alongside the story of Estonians. You know, my own family they come from Mulgimaa, and they were sauna people in that they lived in the sauna because, you know, a saunik is like a farmhand in Estonian, and that's because the farmhand would be the person who lives in the sauna with their family. So I come from a heritage of sauna people, and I want to help kind of more people around the world just better understand that, you know, the sauna is an old tradition with so many fascinating traditions around it and so many fascinating stories, and want to help tell them. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you will have a great Independence Day. You know, if you want to keep following what we're doing, then we're at Estonian Saunas on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So yeah, please do get in touch with us, send us a message. And we hope to see many of you here in Estonia as soon as it's safe to do so. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Happy Independence Day.
The reason why we talk about saunas is because not only it's part of our culture, but also we are interested to know how many of you have saunas in Seattle or West Coast or other parts of the country, because it is part of who we are and part of our culture. And growing up, going to sauna, it's not all sauna has never been part of just cleaning your body, it's also cleaning your soul. So saunas are definitely part of Estonians as much as rukkileib, as much as our singing and dancing. Saunas are just one part of it. For now, we're going to move on to Kaja Weeks' mouth quill poems with ancestral roots. So the term mouth quill derives from suutesuig, a poetic symbol for the singer's magical tool found in Estonian runic verse. Tooge mulle suutesuig, siis mina laulan linnukeeli. Bring me my mouth quill, then I shall sing the voice of birds. For our second poem from the collection, we will hear the Songstress, Pine Parents, South Jersey.
Kui sinne minna alli kandi agi minna kanni meno seie kura kurgule valeri. Selle muhe lühele, selle kurkugu mõõm, nii kui pille pedajane, nii kui kannal kadaljane.
The Songstress, Pine Barrens, South Jersey, in memory of Ellen Barbe Valdsar. Magical songstress, dressed in linen, a woven currant white belt wrapped 3 times around her waist, the long end falling freely. In darkness she stood alone, spotlit in a field. We waited, almost in silence, except for those summer night sounds, crickets, a branch crackle, bullfrogs. When she opened her mouth and high sounds emerged, they were fantastical, glides and leaps upon vowels, singing, whistling, or bird song. Some were shepherd's calls, ae, ae. Murweide tütred came, those sprites whose singing drove animals of the forest to thrive. Mythic images of the yolk and white of a bird's egg washed ashore, our sun and moon appeared.
Thank you, Kaja. Järgmiseks toovad meile tervitused meie lõunapoolsed naabrid ja sõbrad. Lätlased saadavad meile oma tervitused. Video on teinud Sarma Davidson. Our friends and neighbors from Latvia are sending their greetings.
Dear Estonian friends, I bring you heartfelt greetings from your Latvian friends of Seattle for your 103rd Independence Day celebration. It has been an unbelievable year, the COVID-19 year of no contacts at the Latvian Center, without activities, without social gatherings. Our Latvian church has weekly videos on YouTube. 3 people work at it: the minister, the organist, and our camera iPhone operator. Any kind of meeting has been virtual, even our annual Christmas bazaar. I'm in great anticipation of your next year's 2022 celebration at the Latvian Center together with you friends. Stay safe, healthy, and happy.
Thank you, Salma. We miss you too. Next, ning järgmised tervitused on meie sõpradelt Leedus, our other neighbor and friends from Seattle Lithuanian Society has sent their greetings.
Tere. It's hard to believe that last year we were all sitting in Latvian Hall together to celebrate Estonia's independence. Though the circumstances have changed, we are still celebrating with you in our hearts on this special day. We hope that by next year, things will be back to the way they were so that we may celebrate together in person. Until then, on behalf of the whole Seattle Lithuanian community, I wish you congratulations and happy Independence Day.
Unmute yourself.
Why do I have to unmute myself all the time? All right, before we move on to our last music video, I would like to take a moment to remind everybody something very important. That the only reason that we've been able to continue as Seattle Estonian Society, because it's because of you, our members. While we may not be able to get together in person right this moment, we'll be offering online community events, and hopefully soon we actually see you in person. But to do that, we need our members. So if you are a member or want to become a member, we do ask you to pay your dues. Ladies and gentlemen, pay your dues. You can do that on our website, which is seattleestoniansociety.weebly.com. It's $30 for adult and $15 for senior or child. So please go to our website, pay your dues so we can continue to events, and you will be our email list. You will get all of that. Also, another announcement is, I'm sure most of you have heard, but in case you haven't, as we are optimistic about our future, we have found new dates for West Coast Estonian Days for LEP, and that would take place in Seattle, as you guessed, in Clearwater Hotel and Casino in July 22nd to 24th, 2022. So not this summer, but next summer. I think by that time, we are all good. We get together, and I'm so ready for that. I hope you're ready for that. I cannot wait. Anyway, you can follow us on our Facebook page, which is West Coast Estonian Days, or go to our website, which is lep2021.com. Yes, I know it's the wrong year, but you have to forgive us, okay? Well, we're fixing it. We're fixing it. And if you feel very generous today, you can also join us to help with the organization. You can volunteer. You can just give us a pat on the back, because we do need that too. Or even better, you can sponsor us. Speaking of sponsors, here's the thing. We will have our next community event coming up, and it's dedicated for International Naistepäev. It will take place in March 13th, though. That's not the actual day for Naistepäev, but you know, we do what we can. So ladies, join us for a virtual afternoon of good wine and delicious cooking, because we are, two of our sponsors, Lauren Ashton Cellars and Popcorn, are offering event package with 2 bottles of wine, by the way. They're so good. And online class, they will teach you how to make oven-baked brie and truffle toast with fig jams and mushroom risotto. And the most important part, we get to kind of hang out and talk and have some fun. I miss seeing people, so I hope to see you there. The event information will go out next week, so pay attention. I hope you can come. And all right, let's move on to our last music video. Lääne-Eesti Koor esitab meile laulu Koit. It's one of my favorite choir songs. I have very personal attachment to it. My son is named Koit, and it's because of that particular song in the 90s when it came out. I was part of the Night Song Festival and the Singing Revolution, and they were singing it. And since then, it's always been stuck in my head. We're almost done. We thank you all for coming, and I would like to raise a toast. Tõstame klaasi ja täna on hea päev, kus me saame meenutada minevikku, tähistada olevikku ja pöörata pilt tulevikku. Me soovime meie kallile Eestile palju õnne ning pikki aastaid edaspidiseks. Elagu Eesti!
Elagu Eesti!
So, if anybody have questions, let me know.
Jääb ikka nii, et Saaremaa näeb õhtupäiv.
Aitäh kõigile! Bye!
Ta kõrval tunne Hiiumaa üht õiget sugu. Õit siilist veel linnupesi Läänemaal võib leida rannaras. Veel aru annab Harjumaa me rahva sünniloost. Ei taha üksi, ükski maa. Ei ole üksi, ükski maa.
Elagu Eestimaa!
Elagu Eestimaa! Aitäh kõigile, kes tuli! Aitäh! Ilusat pidutsemist!